Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and this is live stream number 2. And today, the topic is what to do when your ex comes back when you're out of no contact. This live stream feels funny sometimes. Anyhow, if your ex contacts you, right, and you've been in no contact for 1 month, 2 months, what do you do, right? So usually a lot of times people get really, really excited. They plan something really extravagant. We think about getting back together. And the answer is if someone, first of all, you need to know, do you want them back? Why do you want them back? Okay. But the best position to actually be in is to be in a position where you actually don't really care. I know that sounds crazy, but you are at a position where you're like, well, if we went out, I'd have no expectations. In other words, if we go out, we have a good time, we connect, and something goes from there, good. If we don't, then I'm fine with that too. So you want to be in a position that you're strong enough not to have high expectations when you go out with that person, that you go out with them with the intention of having a good time and reconnecting in the present. So when you reconnect in the present, you go out for pizza, you go out for coffee, you go out for a nice dinner, you talk about what's been going on in your life. You do not bring up issues from the past breakup that were sore issues, because at this point they should be over it. You should be over it to a level that you guys can go out and reconnect and see if the relationship can get back to where it was. Now, that's the other point. If the relationship wasn't in a good place and there was a problem, a specific problem, then you need to know what was the problem, and is the problem fixable or is it going to be fixed? So I want to know from anyone else out there, what would be your approach if your ex contacted you and you've been in no contact for, what's up, Nike One? There you are. What would be your approach if your ex contacts you, you've been in no contact for say 2 months, 3 months, you're moving along, you're doing really well, you're going to the gym, you got your eyes on a new job, you actually dated a couple of times, and then out of nowhere, and month 3, month 4, your ex contacts you and just says, hey, how you doing? What would be your reaction? Would you say, let's get dinner right away? Or would you have a long conversation? Would you text back and forth? And I've talked about this in a video I had before. In my particular case, I had someone that was an ex contact me 7 or 8 months later out of the blue. And we ended up talking on the phone for, 30 or 40 minutes and just talking about what was going on. There was no bitterness there. There was no anger. And it was a really good conversation. And we were actually living very far apart at the time. And from that moment, we reconnected the next time I was in town, and it was low expectations. We hooked up. We ended up going out after that and getting back together. So it's not necessarily, right? It's not necessarily one size fits all. So if you have your ex, I would focus on rebuilding the connection. Thanks, Judy Jack Burton. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I agree. Thanks for talking about the topic. So this is only my second live stream, man. I haven't done this before. I'm sorry, I've only done this once before, and bringing up this topic. Thanks for shedding some light. So simply reply, hey there, been well, hope all is going good with you. So he's talking about this, what if your ex brings up the past and you don't? Okay, that's a different topic. If your ex contacts you after you've been in no contact for 2 or 3 months, they hit you up, they say, hey, how are you doing? And he says, simply reply, hey there, been well, hope it's going good with you. Could do that. Judy Jackburn said, I would focus on rebuilding the connection. That's what I would probably do. And I don't even know if I'd use the word focus. I would be testing it. I would be asking questions about the present. Hey, how you been? If they call you, they're throwing a little spark. They're interested in reconnecting. They're fishing. And it's completely up to you how you react to that. Depends on the breakup. Honestly, you're correct, dude. I've had some exes I hook up with, stayed friends with. One, been 8 years, and she's happily married. Also have one that created a new profile, and I blocked her ASAP. Well, yeah, it depends on the breakup, 100%. Okay, so let's reframe it then. If someone contacts you back and it's someone you want to get back together, you had a good relationship with, and let's say at the end, they got a new job, they started going out with friends, they started drinking a lot, and they started changing their identity, and suddenly they wanted to be single again, and they broke up with you. What about that? You heard rumors through the grapevine that they had been seeing some other people, and you think, okay, now she contacted me, now what? So if you want to get back with that individual, yeah, play it simple, play it cool. And I wouldn't even say play it cool. I would say be cool, because you should be in that mindset already. You should be in the mindset that you're moving forward, you're moving on, and this is a bonus. And if you're going to revisit it, I would agree probably at this point with Judy Jack Burton, would rebuilding the connection. Okay, because from the connection's the original part, and hopefully you're still attracted to each other. If you ended the relationship with zero attraction, well, then that's gonna change things. What if your ex brings up the past and you don't? So this is what Al B said. Al B, are you still out there, buddy? What if your ex brings up the past and you don't? Well, the thing is, what are they bringing up the past about? I mean, that's such a broad question. I'd have to know exactly what they're bringing up. So definitely going to test why they're reaching out. Sure. Before this current relationship was in a long-term relationship, off and on for almost 17 years. Off and on relationship for 17 years. Wow, that's a medal, dude. That ended 3 years ago. Took time to heal before dating, which was my current situation, finding this one. Harder to deal with when my last breakup. Yeah, well, every breakup's different, and it's different because of timing. It's different because of circumstances. It's different because of the one in the past. Albie says yes. But I think that these situations, that's why scenarios like this, they can't be really narrowed down. That's why your story needs to be sent out and your story needs to be unpacked. I just got out of a live coaching. Dated 5 years, split for 5 years, and got back for 7 years. Wow, that's a long split, man. You split up for 5 years, but you were seeing each other? Wow, that's a long split, man. Breaking up in the past, such as constant fights and what caused the breakup. Okay, if it's negativity, so constant fights and what caused the breakup, well then if the ex brings that up, if they're bringing up, if you had constant fights, what were the constant fights over? If you're constantly fighting for sport, or are you fighting with the idea that you want to actually fix the problem? I don't know, right? So let's get a little light here. I don't know why you're having the problem. If you're constantly fighting, it's probably because of one particular thing. And what caused the breakup? If what caused the breakup's coming up again, then it never went away. Dated 5 years, split for 5 years, and got back to 7. That's a long-term thing. That's a long split. You got to regroup in those 5 years of splitting up, bringing up the past. Breaking up is such a constant thing. Fights. Okay, constant fights about bringing up the past. Is that what you're saying? Well, if someone can't get up, if someone can't get past bringing up the past, well, then that's a negotiation that ends right there, right? I mean, why are you going to continue in a relationship where you keep digging up the past and it's a negative past? That's your clarity right there to say this isn't going to work. So your answer when you're trying to reconnect here, right, is that breakups are a situation where when you get back together, you're starting a new relationship in a lot of ways. And so that time apart, that time where you miss each other, a lot of the smoke should clear and dissipate to a point where, you know what, you're forgiving. And you're not going to forget necessarily, but at that point, when you're coming back to someone, you want to revisit the relationship. What is their emotional state when bringing up the breakup? Okay, so Josh is asking this to maybe you, Albie. Yeah, if they're in an anger state, they're still angry, then that's probably not a reason to get back together. That means that probably things aren't going to work out in most most of the time. Judy Jack Birkin, it's like you're starting over. If you cared about them enough, then it's worth it. Yeah, I agree with you, Judy Jack Burton. I like the name too. So it's like you're starting. Oh yeah, it's like you're starting over. If you get back with that person, you're reconnecting. That's how I agree. Simply put. And I would add to that, like I said, when you go, let's say you meet up, you go into that with no expectations of getting back together. You go into that with the expectation of just having a good time, feeling each other out, and feeling the vibrations of the energy. That sounds crazy, right? But have you ever just felt awkward? You ran into someone, you're like, it was awkward. It's because someone in that energy field on either side is not feeling it, right? I feel like this breakup is harder to deal with than the last, even if it only lasted 1.5 years. Not 17. I think it's because I saw myself starting a family with this girl. Yeah, well, it's timing and circumstances where you're at. You had a different connection. And sometimes, I'm not saying in the 17-year relationship that this was true, but if you're with someone 17 years, you might have known that the breakup was coming in the last 2 years, so you were prepared for it. I had a friend that broke up with his girlfriend. I think they were together 6 or 7 years in the early 20s. And I remember being like, I was in my breakup and I'm like, damn, was it really hard for you? He goes, no, it wasn't hard at all. He goes, because there was so much shit that was layered on that I took for 1.5 years, 2 years, that when I walked out that door, I was ready. I was validated. I was happy to be out of that relationship. So if the relationship ends after 1.5 years and you still thought things were going really well and you were still in the honeymoon phase and communicating really well, where if you were in that 17-year relationship and the last 3 or 4 were really dead, maybe you were ready long before you ended it. And so you kind of got weaned off the relationship in a lot of ways. Okay. A little interesting. It's a little different time frame. It's a little later out there. So what's your take on right person, just bad timing? What's your take on the right person, just bad time? I think that I was told this years back in my early 20s. I remember this other lady that worked with me. She was like 28, 29. She goes, oh, relationships are all timing. It's all about timing, Mac. And I was like, yeah, whatever, And looking back, it's a significant part of meeting the person that you want to be with. So I definitely think it's true. Right person, just bad timing. Good afternoon, Eric. Good afternoon to you too, bud. What's your take on the right person, bad timing? I think it's true. I think there's bad timing all the time. I think that bad timing happens while you're with someone, right? Like, let's say you have a job promotion and your wife wants to stay in San Francisco Bay Area because that's where her family is. Is that bad timing? Yeah. If your financials aren't right, let's just go through it. If your financials are right, I've got one question for you. Go ahead, shoot, Eric. E.g., if your financials aren't right, it's bad timing. If you still got to finish school and they don't got to finish school, there's all kinds of situations. But if it's bad timing and you have a really good connection and you're highly attracted to each other, you could probably revisit that relationship at some time. True or not true? If it's bad timing for the other person, right? So I hear many times over that people have a lot of issues with their families, right? They have a lot of issues with their families. Something happens in their family, they got to go back and take care of their family. They got to go back and take care of their mom, and it affects their relationship. But you know what I tell people about that? I go, you're never going to regret putting your mom first or putting your family first if they're sick or ill or in need, and you're in a relationship of 6 months or 8 months and it's long distance and you got to move back home, whatever it is. If it's morally correct and it's within your values, you're not going to go back in your life and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right? Do the right thing. Lead with that. I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. There's no real good or bad timing. Okay, that's one way to look at it. I think that when I'm saying right person, just bad timing, I'm saying that you could meet someone that you have a really good connection with, but it's just bad timing to have a long-term relationship. I don't know if that was your question. There's certainly times when people go, I'm not in the market to have a long-term relationship. So a person that they really connect with, it's never going to work out. Everything happens for a reason. That's certainly something to look at. And if you want to relate that to that question, okay. There's no real good or bad timing. Yeah, well, I mean, if you believe in everything happens for a reason, that's certainly true. Judy Jack Burton, true. Eric Rowe, what if he neglected her? How do I reconcile with her? What if I neglected her? Well, it depends on how long the neglect went on. It depends on what was considered neglected. Everyone has their own definitions of words. So what I'm saying is you built a case of who you are and what you did, and you're not going to just be able to go, oh, I won't neglect you anymore. I'm going to show you a lot of attention tonight. It doesn't work that way. If you were together 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, people believe what they believe about you. I matched with a girl on Tinder who knows my ex. The girl I matched with started talking about going on a date to places my ex and I went to. My ex was feeding her that, making me think of memories. How do you know that, Mr. Kavanaugh? How do you know that would be my question. Like, you know that 100%, or you're just assuming that? Because assuming that doesn't serve you at all. Need more of a backstory, Eric. Exactly. I mean, this live stream thing, I really like connecting with you guys. It's sometimes to give you a tailored, really good response. The live coaching, or to write your whole story out and get it read on a video, is much more detailed response based on what happened to you. And my whole theory is I really need to know what's going on in your relationship. And when we do, I just did a 2.5 hour live coaching. It goes a lot deeper than just your story. We get into a lot of different paths into what's going on. And to have all that focus, you unpack a lot. But having these questions are interesting. Sometimes I can only go so far with my answer. 3-month relationship, I was just too careless and she let me go. Okay, 3 months relationship's extremely short. So the case that she built was very shallow. So you might be able to reinvigorate something. Been doing no contact since the breakup. Well, how are you careless? That's the other thing. Careless can mean many things. I don't know if that means neglect, or if you cheated, or if you just didn't show her any attention. If she let me go, so I like the way you said that. She didn't break up with you. She let you go. If you neglected them, just try to be present. Thanks, Judy Jack. Yeah. What I would say to that is, if she's broken up with you already, you can't just overcompensate. This is something that comes up a lot. Someone will do something wrong and then they'll overcompensate and it doesn't come off genuine. So if you neglected someone and you try to come back at them and give them loads of attention, it's out of character for you, then keep in mind about that too. 8 months, no contact. It's still tough. Flo, the infamous P. Well, is anything worth it that's not difficult at first? I don't know. 8 months of no contact, it's still tough. How long was your relationship? It's going to be tough, but why is it tough? And what are you holding on to 8 months later would be my question. Do you have a purpose as an individual moving forward that has nothing to do with that breakup? Almost 3 months of no contact. Do I reach out or I just wait? She sends a message first. You shouldn't be waiting. You shouldn't be hoping. You shouldn't be trying. You should be doing you. You should be working on yourself. You should be moving forward because she let you go and she made that decision. If she wants to reach out to you, she will. And if and when she does, it's a bonus for you, and you'll have to make that decision then. But 3 months, if you guys were only together 3 months and you want to reach out to her, go ahead. But you're better off staying in no contact and having her contact you when she's ready. And if she's not ready, you're moving forward. That's the benefit. Matthew Hug, we broke up almost 2 months ago. She reached out to me last week and week on no contact because she misses me, but she didn't want me back. So I just went back into no contact. It's been 2 weeks. Well, sometimes, a lot of times, private video response is an awesome way to go. It is an awesome way to go. Thank you. It's the truth. Thank you, sir. Go to my services page if you want to book a private video response. We broke up almost 2 months ago. She reached out to me last week because she misses me, but she didn't want me back. So if she doesn't want you back and she reached out to you and you don't want that, then you just need to move forward and now double down on no contact, cut off all social media and move forward, because she's catpawning you in a lot of ways. A lot of times, an individual will check in with you, see how you are, and just see if you're still interested in them. Oh, I just want to check up on you, or this or that. Okay, thanks. Cheers. But if you if you don't want to have that like spotty little friendship, we'll check in with each other, we'll wean you off the relationship kind of thing, as my friend Colgan says. Then you need to go. Wait a minute, this isn't going to serve me now. She's not interested in getting back at all. Now that's your clarity. Private video response. Okay, Eric, why do you want her back if only being with her 3 months? Just curious. Okay, fair question. Hit that thumbs up, y'all. Thanks, James Kavanaugh. JC, the bigger figure. Is actually JT, the bigger figure, right? Thanks, James. Keep the questions coming in, right? Going back to this one for EG, Eric Guerrero here, 3 months, no contact. Do I reach out? It's like, 3 months is not a very long relationship. So I would move forward, and getting over and through that relationship is quite a bit easier. I've seen the other videos that it's okay for me to break no contact if I took her for granted. Is it true? Great question, because there's so many videos out there. There's no rules to this. If you want to contact her, fine. The idea that you're going to find some certain trail that's going to work, it's just not out there. There's no secret sauce. There's none of that. No contact. The reason it works is for you to move forward first and foremost as a confident, cool individual. Now, if you're going into it and you're like, all right, if I do no contact for 30 days and I do this and I do that, it'll work, right? No, I don't know what the statistics are on this. I don't know. I think the guy from the love chat talks about that, but bottom line is you need to move forward with your life and make yourself the best you can be, as cheesy as that might sound to you. This idea that you're attached to, getting her back and impressing her and showing her that you won't neglect her, and you are only give her 3 months. 3 months should be the honeymoon phase. If you are broken up after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, that says a lot about your connection to me. I mean, that should be a area that you guys are getting along. That should be rose petals and wine glasses. Infamous P. I'm in therapy, got a personal trainer and a second job. I'm really doing the personal work. I'm moving forward, but I'd love to have her back. Yeah, it's a fucking bonus. But let me ask you this. From this breakup, did this spark you to get a personal trainer, get a second job, and get your shit together? So this is the thing. If you go back to whoever said everything happens for a reason, sometimes breakups happen for a good reason most of the time, and it's a call to action. I mean, if I'd love to have her back. Well, look at it this way. It's like I said, yeah, at this moment you would, or, have someone of equal value. Is it possible out of 7 billion humans on earth, I think it is, there's 3 billion women, that you can meet someone that's equal value, not better necessarily? Start dating, because if you're at that point now, that's the next step from having a personal trainer or your second job moving forward. How's your therapy going? The girl I matched with knew my favorite drink at my favorite restaurant. She mentioned the restaurant my ex's dad owns. Only my ex would bring that up. The girl I matched with made it obvious. Well, find a different match. Is that a simple answer? I mean, if she's doing that what would be her purpose of doing that? To fuck with you? I mean, that's immature games. So I would just move on and meet someone else on the app, and don't buy into it. Don't play into it. Don't react to it, because then you give it power. If she's doing that and going out of her way, that's just immature. How is that? Would you do that to her? When she emailed a month ago, she said she missed our connection. If the connection was a memorable one, are they like to revisit one day? Well, someone says they specifically missed your connection, then reconnect and talk. And if she wants to reconnect, she can. A lot of times, sometimes it's in the moment too, right? It's like Judy Jack said about being present. Wait for her to contact you, then respond, only focusing on the present moment. Thank you, Judy Jack. I agree. The reason I don't just go do this, do that, do this is because the human mind doesn't like to be commanded or told exactly what to do. So when I tell you to do one option or the other and you make a choice, it makes it that much more powerful. If I tell you no contact and what Judy Jack says, wait for her to contact you, I wouldn't even say wait. I would say move forward with the idea that I don't care if she contacts me. That's the best place to actually be in. The best place to actually be in is to not give a fuck. Chris Wong, this is a new one. I have a good relationship with my ex-boyfriend's mom. We broke up 2 months ago. it is wise to keep in touch with her. It's a LDR. We've agreed to meet up when I fly back to the country in a few months. Well, I mean, this generalized idea is wise to keep in touch with her. Is it wise to keep in touch? I have a good relationship with my ex-boyfriend's mom. Yeah, it's fine if you have a good relationship. We broke up 2 months ago. Is it wise to keep in touch with her? Why wouldn't it be wise to keep in touch with her? If you're using the relationship with your ex's mom to get your ex back, I don't think that's a really nice way to play. If you genuinely have a good relationship with your ex's mom, then keep it up. And you can keep the mom out of that aspect. It's an LDR. Long distance relationships have a shelf life. If you're not going to move there and they're not going to move to your hometown, then it's never going to become more than that. We've agreed to meet up when I fly back to our country in a few months. So in a few months, you're going to revisit things, and the same problem is there that you guys live apart. I'm feeling your taste in music, coach. Okay. Which song? Tell me the song. Therapy is helping me. Thought it would work faster to help me get through the grieving, but it's a process. It's absolutely a process. It's like when I talk to people, I just talked to a guy in a live coaching for the 2 hours plus. And, he's like, oh, this feels a lot better, man. It's getting this all out and we're going through it and stuff like that. And I said, you're still going to have moments where it hurts and you feel down and you're upset, but that's part of the process of healing. The good part is if you get 100, if you get 1%, 2%, 3% over time, you'll get there. Just shows they can dump you and move on, but when they see you start to move on, suddenly they don't seem so keen on letting you go. Well, the idea that they, as in all of them, that's just not true. That's a generalization. And if you adopt that generalization, it will affect future relationships for you. So what I would say is this individual is someone that once you move on, it is highly attractive to someone once you move on because then they feel like they can't have you. It's part of attraction 101. But as it being some kind of tactic for all of them or they, that's not true. Because there's some people that are done and they will not come back. A breakup will take your personal growth as an individual to another level. It did for me. It did for me because you have a choice. You're like, do I want to feel like shit for the rest of my life? No. Are there some areas that I can take control of and get some power back? Yes. Just wondering, Mac, may I ask where you're at in your personal life right now? Are you married or seeing someone? If you don't wish to answer, I understand. Yeah, I try to keep that to myself, actually. I try to keep that to myself because then it becomes more questions. But I'm doing pretty well. Okay, Eric, few weeks after the breakup, one of her friends told me that she wanted to talk to me, but I refused to talk about her due to being angry in the moment. Till this day, I question myself, what if I would have just talked to her and everything would have worked out in the end? I didn't even know that there's music in the background. Is there music going on in the background? Song Switchfoot bound. I don't know what that is. Is there a song going on while I'm talking? Oh, Poison. Okay. I got it. Belle Biv DeVoe. Poison. Remember ABC? The little kids group, the dudes in the starter parkas. Okay, Eric Guerrero, let's talk to you about this. You're going through it here. A few weeks after the breakup, one of her friends told me she wanted to talk to me, but I refused to talk about her due to being angry in the moment. Till this day, I question myself, what if I just... Well, her friend told you that? That's hearsay. That's secondhand knowledge. Don't hang on that. If I would have just talked to her and everything would have... What if you would have talked to her and it didn't work out? How about reframing it that way? It would have ended either way. Coach Mac out here telling the truth. It's easy to say exes always come back, but that's not real. It isn't real. Best solution is just to move on. A lot of coaches sell people on hope. I'm not selling you on hope. I'm selling you on you. Okay? I'm selling you at some point you attracted that woman or that man or that individual that you're into and that you're heartbroken over, and you can attract another one in the future and you can do better probably. And the bottom line is your exes don't always come back. That's not true. And Here's the thing. I'd say 50% of the time, you don't want that relationship back. Your ego wants that relationship back just so you can validate not getting dumped. There's a load of people I know that are in bad relationships. That's why you need to write out your story, send it into me, have me take a look at it and give you my take, or send it into some other breakup coach. I don't care. Get someone else's take on it. But a lot of times, are you chasing a good relationship? Are you chasing just your ego and being vindicated for the fact like, oh, she broke up with me? I want to prove myself. You've referenced Al B. Sure. JT, the bigger figure, sounds like you enjoy some 90s music. Dude, I grew up on hip hop. I'm from the Bay Area. The Yay. Yeah, I like JT, the bigger figure. Yeah, I mean, my 90s music. I graduated high school in 99, so that gives you some. You're still hanging on too much, Eric. You got to move forward. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say, Josh, who I got you. You're right, E.G. Guerrero. The more you hang on that, the more you get weak and needy. And if she contacted you again, you're not in a good position because you're overthinking things. Is it better to block her totally in every social media or not in a breakup? Depends on the breakup, but in most cases, here's the bottom line. If you see a picture on Facebook and she's with some other guy from work and you immediately go into a frame of, is she seeing that guy? Is she sleeping with that guy? Then you should probably cut social media because you're framing stories in a negative light that aren't going to serve you moving forward. Excuse me. Is it better to block her totally from every social media in a breakup, in a bad relationship? Kamar Singh, you sent me your story before, I think. NYC, I think. Could be wrong. In a bad relationship. If it's a bad relationship and it was a bad breakup, then I would cut off every social media. If you're trying to move forward and that person's toxic or manipulative, and every time you see them with someone else, it brings you back to ground zero, well, then that's not serving you. Take your power back. The thing is, I'm still blocked till this day. Okay, you're being a victim. I'm blocked till this day. Oh my God, I should have talked to her when I should have talked to her when her friend told me to talk to her. How can you take control of the situation? She blocked me, I'm done. We had a 3-month relationship. She said I neglected her. Okay, in the future, when I get in another relationship, I'll keep that in mind. Do you feel like you neglected her? I mean, have you answered that question to yourself? So it's quite difficult for me to reach out. It's not difficult. It's not the right thing to do, right? If she blocked you, why would you want to reach out to her? She's telling you, don't contact me. It's easy to say I'm still learning every day. I'm still learning every day. I want a lot of what ifs. But if I've been able to not hang on to the smaller things, it's easy to say I'm still learning every day. I hope so. I wonder a lot of what ifs, but I've been able to not, damn, what ifs? I'm 38 years old. Life's full of what ifs. You got to let those go, man. But I've been able to not hang on to the smaller things. Good. That's a start. That's a really good start, buddy. A really good start. What do we got here? 90s music, this and that, this and that, this and that. Yeah, that was a nice setup here. Just to get some feedback from who's talking out there. Is this a late chat for a lot of you out there? Is this a late time start? I'm looking at a ideal time for most people just to start these live streams. Would it be better if it's a little bit earlier? Any feedback? No. Does anyone care? No. Let me get this. So we just cut off all the questions here. Okay, Eric Guerrero. Those what ifs are the ones that will kill anyone's mentality. A little late, but we're dedicated. Right on, JC. I'll try to start. I'm going to try to start earlier in a consistent time. Where are you at, Kavanaugh? Are you in the States? Let me know. Guerrero, what ifs are the ones that kill anyone's mentality? All right, let's talk about what ifs or shouldas. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I've been there. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have done this. Should have started this channel. Ohio. Wow, you Ohio State fan? Michael Red. Stevens, 1:30 a.m. here in MD. All right. Damn, man. That's loyalty. 1:30 a.m. The guy with the 1,700 word story from yesterday trying to figure out the scheduling for our one-on-one. I just added 2 extra days of personal training, so my schedule has changed. All right, man. Well, do what you got to do, and we'll make it work. Just got off the phone before this session with the guy for over 2 hours. It went really well. And actually, this is, I've just started this, as I mentioned, this live streaming thing. I come out of talking to someone for two and a half hours, and then I was a little cold. Hi, Coach Aldrin here from Cali. Hope you remember me. Where are you from in Cali? Aldrin. I'm not sure. I'm a high priest in the church of no contact. Okay. If I hit the lotto, can I get my ex back? I guess if they're about money, shit, I don't know. Would you want to get your ex back? Would be a better. If you hit the lottery, would you want your ex back? Would be a better question. I mean, I heard of this story one time. This guy was telling me he was from New York. He had this really thick accent. He's like, yeah, he goes, I was married to my sister for 10 years. And after being married for my sister for 10 years, he really wanted to get a divorce. And so he goes, yeah, he made like, I don't know, a couple $1 million on this stock. And the day after the stock went public and really hit, he basically said, yeah, we're getting a divorce and you can have the house and I'll give you, but you can't have this stock. And he had it all planned. So, I mean, sometimes, the money's your out. Sometimes, a lot of times people are stuck in a relationship that they're not happy in because they're financially glued to each other. And that doesn't just mean women to a house or something like that. Men are financially glued to a woman too. Like you share cars, you share a house, you share rent. I mean, think about that. I had written you my story regarding the sin guilt thing. You told me you went to school in San Francisco. I'm in Orange County. The sin guilt. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank here. I'll have to look that up, man. Orange County, that's a nice place, man. It's a nice place to live. Got a couple friends out there. Lived in San Diego for years. I went to school at San Francisco State, and I lived in San Diego for 4 years, and I grew up in the Bay Area, so didn't do much time in Orange County, actually. Sounds like jail. Didn't do much time in Orange County. From personal experience, you do not want to buy someone's love. It doesn't work. Sure, gifts are nice, but spend your time, attention, and love. It lasts longer. Money comes and goes. It's absolutely the gospel right there, Josh Who. It's Josh Who. In my experience, thoughtful gifts go a long way. Not buying a lot of gifts, but buying the gift that someone really, really wanted for Christmas or their birthday rather than just buying it because they wanted it goes a long ways. And knowing your partner, what is it, that one book, The Love Languages, knowing your partner and what they would value, right, is a big deal as far as gifts go. But would I like to win the lottery? Hell yeah. Would I like to be a millionaire? Would I be a generous millionaire? Hell yeah. Would I donate to charity? Hell yeah. Do I think the lottery can get my ex back? It would get their fucking attention. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. It would get their attention. It would get back to them somehow. I would probably get back to every ex, right? I'd probably get back to everyone I went to high school with, because stuff like that, people are intrigued. What? Won the lottery? And then you got your people that'll hate and be like, oh yeah, that person doesn't deserve it or this or that. They're just going to lose it. The list goes on. What else do we got here? I'll have to look that up, Aldrin. I've written you my story regarding the sin guilt thing. Well, it's been 7 months since she said she needed time to focus on her relationship with God. Still friends on social media and all that. In your video you had said she won't be back soon. So I guess I'm going to wait. Don't wait. If it's been 7 months, if you got religion involved, I think I remember this maybe, but if it was 7 months ago, that's quite a while ago. If you got religion involved, 7 months since she needed time to focus on her relationship with God, I mean, that's a lot of competition beyond just meeting someone else. And you're going to wait around for that? Give yourself the opportunity to possibly meet someone else that might appreciate you. How about that one? I think God would be on board with that. I was great boyfriend, made sure I showed her my love in person, but on social media, I rarely talked and showed her my feelings towards her. Oh my God. I was a great boyfriend, made sure I showed her my love in person, but on social media, I rarely talked and showed her my feelings towards her. Wow. Well, if that's what she was looking for, more social media attention, you're coming to the wrong person. I don't even, that's just, does anyone, I mean, if that's what she's looking for, well, I don't even know what to say to that. I'm speechless. That would be a turnoff. Oh, you didn't show me enough attention on social media, so I'm done with you. That's stuck up. Big fan of yours, Mac. Thanks, Steven. Steven Soistman. Sounds German. Big fan of yours, Mac. Your videos have helped me out so much over the last 6 months. Was in a relationship for 5 years with my girlfriend. We split up 6 months ago. She just recently reached out. Okay, so this is something that's talking about the topic we're on. Cool, dude. So how did it work out? She just recently reached out. Okay. I'm wondering if this is the person I'm thinking of. You sent me an update on this. So did it go good or bad, Steven? Dun, 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 dun. Is this a positive story or a bad story, right? There's duality to everything. So now I'm backed up. Helen, Olsai Kaya. Good morning, Coach Mac. Can't go to sleep without saying hello. I watch your videos and you're great. It's been a long time that you did this, but finally, from the state of famous country, Tennessee. I'm not sure. It's Josh. It's thanks a lot, Helen, for the compliments. I appreciate it, hon. It's Josh who it'd be like celebrating a holiday every day. It gets old. Like Coach said, thoughtful gifts count. They do, man. In my experience, I honestly, I've always been thoughtful. My mom, too much coffee, is one of those. Everyone in the family gets a birthday card and a Christmas card from my mom. I did that when I was in real estate too, and I really enjoyed it. And those small, thoughtful things. Anytime we have a family function, which isn't often, they always go, "Oh, Aunt Claudette, you're the one that always sends her birthday card." She does it. Everyone, every cousin, everyone in the family, and people appreciate that. It seems like most people say taking an ex back is always a stupid idea, and I'm inclined to agree. What's always? I mean, it depends on your situation. It's a generalization. Taking an ex back, I'd have to know the circumstances of what's going on. Obviously, if you're taking them back, you're in control. Gas station rose every once in a while rather than all the other gifts. A gas station rose goes a long way, huh? Good for you. What are some general scenarios where it would make sense to take an ex back? It seems like most people, I don't know, that would take a long time to unpack. But I would say if you're going to take your ex back, that whatever you're upset with them about, you forgave them, number one. You see a future with them, number two. When you're around them, you still get excited. You still feel that connection. You still feel like you truly love them. I know she's cat pong, but she said she wasn't over me the last time we talked and that her life after the breakup was boring so far. Still no commitment from her, though. I don't want someone calling me because they're bored. Talking and sharing feelings are very important. Absolutely, Judy Jack. You could be a coach. Social media is ruining relationships and dating in general. I swear. I don't know if it's ruining things, but I call it competitive happiness. I still haven't done. I have a coach, Mac McCarthy, on Facebook. I don't even use it. I don't have a Twitter. I never have. Never had IG. And everyone's telling me to take my stuff to the next level. I have to do that. But I like your books in the background. You got any questions about the books in the background? Let me know. Social media is ruining the relationship and dating in general, I swear. I don't know if it's ruining things. I think that overall it's gotten people much more shallow, and I think it's affected young people more in their early 20s, late teens, because they haven't seen any other kind of society. I mean, I know some girl that told me she's 21, really good looking, takes a lot of pictures on Facebook, and she said that she had 15,000 photos. Wow. You can't remember more moments? 15,000 photos? I don't, is there something wrong with that? Absolutely agree, James, with you, James. Like I said, I don't know if it's ruining it. I don't know if it's ruining dating. I think it's hurting people's self-esteem. I think the idea that people either look really, really happy and excited, or people look really down and out, and there's no in between. No one's, oh, I just went to the job today, drove the truck around. There's nothing medium about it. So everything's either got to be really great or really horrible. So it's sensationalism. German would be correct. Okay, buddy. Well, it's been interesting having her come back around. I'm just taking things one day at a time, not trying to be too needy like I was before. Cool, man. Well, that's a good, not being needy is a natural state too. It means that you're really confident and comfortable with yourself, and you're okay with whatever occurs, whatever comes up. Social media action is important. It shows that they don't mind their friends and family knowing and are proud of you. Okay, could be. Helen says, let's do this again. Please announce. Okay. It's new to me. I've only done 2 live ones. I've really enjoyed it. I don't have a particular time I'm following because I had a live coaching session this morning with someone. So yesterday I did it a bit earlier. But I'll get more organized about this and do it in the future. Thanks, Helen. What is that last name? Olskaya? What nationality is that? I'm just curious. At first, I thought it was Japanese, but I don't think so. Eric Guerrero, any suggestions for me to move on or at least try it? If it doesn't work, just move on. What, contacting her? Go ahead. If you want to, I tell people all the time, go ahead and contact them. Are you okay with the consequences of going back to ground zero? You're better off staying in no contact. She let you go. She said she wasn't interested in you. You were only together 3 months. So I would stay in no contact and move forward. In that scenario, Judy Jack, yes. But once you start airing your dirty laundry, everyone wants to jump in more. Most people prefer negativity over positivity. Again, that's a generalization, but actually they say, anthropologists and stuff say that negativity pops up in mind more than positivity. It's a survival tactic. Don't want to make the mistake that I made in the past this time around. She's 25 and I'm 35. So there's that age gap that can make things difficult at times. 35 and 25 is not too bad. It really depends on where you're at in your life, career-wise and where you're headed. There's a lot of mature 25-year-olds, right? Thank you so much for what you're doing. You have helped a lot of us. Thanks, Helen. I appreciate that. Eric Guerrero, she's a great woman. It's just that we weren't great together. If you weren't great together, then don't re-pursue the relationship. Done. No contact for life. They left you. Give them what they wanted. I mean, it's not necessarily give them what they wanted. Give yourself the gift of moving forward and proving to yourself that you can be alone and be on your own and be in contribution to society. You just answered your own question, Eric. Not great together. That is true. Josh Who says it. If you weren't great together, why are you chasing that relationship? In past relationships I had, the relationship that was the toughest of my breakups, we are all great here with a great coach. Tell it like it is. No beating around the bush. Thanks, Helen. The thing is, if you were in a relationship that was really good 80% of the time, 70% of the time, great. If you're in a relationship when you weren't good together, you shouldn't be chasing that relationship. Then it's like if you had a house and you're constantly fixing the house is falling apart. You've seen pictures of houses on homesteads or farms or these things, and they're rickety and there's dry rot. And you keep fixing that house and you keep fixing that house. Eventually a storm's going to come blow it down. And you could take all the pieces from the fucking house, put it back together, and it's still a shitty house. It's still a house that's going to come down again and again and again. So what's your answer? Go to another house, go to another area, go to another city, find another house, right? Because that house is done. And you trying to refix it and add a piece of wood here and add a piece of wood there. Eventually, people don't want to live there. If your ex broke it, let them fix it. You don't have to contact them. They're going to be watching your social media posts. That gives them a hint of how you're growing and an avenue to test the waters. Yeah, that's not my technique, but it certainly is a technique that if you want to keep people in the loop about what you're doing and keep them interested, yeah, Facebook, pictures of you on Facebook doing really well, and you've been in no contact for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and they come across those, yeah, it'll affect them and maybe spark them to give you a call, maybe spark some jealousy, maybe spark some feelings, possibly. I don't like the fact if you're trying to do it. Then when you're trying to do it, you're overcompensating. You're gonna put some extra pictures on there that didn't mean anything to you. And then the problem with overcompensating and trying, when it doesn't work, it brings you down to ground zero. If you just are having a good time living your life and some photos appear on Facebook just by chance, and they come across them and they go, "Oh, I saw you on that trip to the lake with 2 other girls and so from work and and it was just by chance." You're like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that was posted." Been contemplating booking a coaching session with you, Mac. 5-year relationship will obviously take some time to tell the story. I'd be curious to know what your opinion is and advice you'd have. Well, book the session. I've said this before. You get a full refund if you don't find it useful or helpful. So if you book a 1-hour session live talking to me like this, or you book a 2-hour session live, I stand by that. At the end of the session, I'll ask you. Well, before the session, I'll usually say, "Any more questions? Do you have an extra question or two before we close?" And usually someone will say, "One more question." And then usually at the end, I always say, "Was this useful or helpful?" And I haven't had one client say, "No, give me my money back." So I'll stand by that. And if I were you and I was looking at it's $220 for 2 hours or it's $125 for 1 hour, if you're looking at that and you're like, but you're sitting here and you're thinking, "I can't get over this 5-year relationship," I'm not going to cure that. I'll help you. I'll give you some clarity. I'll unpack it with you. I'll reframe some things. A lot of times a big part of it is you have some frame of the story that you're hung up on and you're not letting go of. And the idea is when you unpack the full story and go through it together, you find out little glitches and you're like, "Oh shit, I'm kind of looking at that wrong." And then over time, it'll reframe it in a better way to serve you moving forward. Not trying. If they know you will, they can see right through if your growth is authentic. Exactly. That's my point. In most cases, if you had a good relationship, you live together, okay. I agree with you, Judy Jack. Judy Jack's preaching today. I like it. You're right. I mean, and I think women especially can see that when you're trying too hard or it's not real. It's like there's been a couple people I've known that said that they were going to change their style. I said, well, if that's who you are, that's not going to be attractive to them because they're going to think it's inauthentic. Now, you can certainly change your style, but if you're changing who you are and what you want to be for someone else, well, then what are you doing? The purpose of moving forward and feeling good is to be happy with who you are. I'm a young, successful guy. I've done the work on myself to be better than I was in the years prior done. Layer of things. As a single man, define who I am, traveling, etc. At this point in my life now where I feel like I'm lacking substance. I don't know what you mean by I'm lacking substance. I think that a good way to put life together is you have different buckets. You have your spiritual, whether that's your religion for you. You have your family. You have your financials, you have your social life, your camaraderie, and you have your love life. And sometimes, a lot of times, not all those buckets are full, right? And sometimes it happens all at once. Everything's empty, and that's really hard. But I've also noticed in my live coaching is people that have all the buckets overflowing, especially financials and friendships, they get a breakup and they're like, "What the fuck happened?" Because everything's going so well that they can't understand why they would end up with a breakup or someone wouldn't want to be with them. So it works both ways. Yeah, I'd have to talk to you about lacking substance and what you mean. What do you mean by lacking substance? What would be the definition of lacking substance? That's the other thing in live coaching. Your words and the way you write words have different definitions to different people. And you don't even know how you're perceiving those words. So, lacking substance can mean something different to other people. Started no contact for 2 months, and now you guys were together 3 months, and you've been in 2 months of no contact. And now I too it up Koch, and I'm currently in a radio silence for a month now, and I will keep doing so for me to fully recover from all this. That's the best line you've said. For you to fully recover from this, you are recovering from this, and you will recover from this, because a 3-month relationship's a minor wound. You'll get over this. You'll get through it, and you'll be better for it. And I suggest you read a couple books, actually. Maybe The Rational Nail by Rollo Tomasi, Models by Mark Manson. Those are great books on dating and getting to know how to deal with women. Better yourself and aspire to improve your attitude, personality, go back to school, and be brave. You got it all in there, Helen. James Kavanaugh, hey, straight up, Judy has the wisdom. Judy does have the wisdom. I will give it. I will give it. Okay. I don't know what notch means for Eric. I know when I was in high school, notch used to mean a girl was really good looking. She's a notch. I don't know if that's what you mean, Eric. Helen, thank you. It seem so simple to be like, oh, better yourself, right? Like, what would be the practice of bettering yourself? And she hit it, like, aspire to improve your attitude and personality and go back to school. You know what people lose sight of is really, I'm going to talk about this in a video, but we can talk about it now, is really dissecting the environment you live in. Not, your 5 friends, what do they say? You're the average of your 5 friends, which is true in a lot of cases. But the environment or the city you live in, dude, that makes a big difference. And I know this from living in different cities. I haven't traveled the world, but I've lived in different cities. I lived in San Francisco. I grew up in a city outside of there. I lived in San Diego and on the beach in a couple of different areas. Mission Beach and Pacific Beach, great places. I lived in Chiang Mai in Thailand. I lived in Phuket. And every place has a collective unconscious, if you will. It has a style. It has things that, it's not just the food. It's like San Diego had this great, everyone was laid back, chill, go to the beach. There wasn't a lot of, I remember I was in my early 20s. You go to like a house party in college. There was no fights. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other people. Everyone was receptive, and San Francisco, people were a little more on edge. I thought there was a little bit more dangerous areas to walk through. So where you live really affects your attitude and your personality. Have you ever met someone says, oh yeah, they're from New York? I just was talking about New York earlier. They have a little edge to them. I remember there was a guy I worked with. That was from New York, and he had a big tattoo on his neck that said respect. And he was a cool dude, man. I was cool with him. I was friends with him. And he was definitely from a rough area. I think he was from Harlem. He's a Puerto Rican dude. And one day we were joking around and whatnot, and I was like, fuck you, And the guy just snapped on me. He just snapped. He was like, don't you ever talk to me like that. And it's like, you don't know where I come from, this and that. The collective unconscious of where he was from in New York is like, you don't talk that way to people. Eric, can I ask you a personal question? Okay. Social media shows people who we want to be, not what we actually are. Can. I think the idea that's crazy. I used to, when I was 16 years old or 16 years old, I worked at Long's, which is like CBS. And I used to do the camera development, 35 millimeter, where you actually printed your photos. That's how old I am. I actually did that as a job when I was 16, and then I was out at 17. And it's like people valued photos. They're like, I gotta get them printed. I look through them. It's like, now with social media, is like, what are you taking a photo for? Are you ever going to bring that back up unless it comes up in a memory? How do I change from being careless in a relationship? Well, figure out individually why you're careless. So why are you careless? What is your reason for being careless? Has other people told you you're careless before? What are examples of you being careless? It should really break down that question. It's a good question to ask yourself. Helen, Coach, I'm saying good night. See you next schedule. Good to see you. And thank you so much for what you do. Thanks, Helen. Thanks for supporting it. Thanks for throwing me an apple. I appreciate that. James Kavanaugh, I wonder how many people want their ex to reach out just so they can validate their ego versus actually wanting them back. I think I'm in the first group. This is actually very, 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 very true. I wonder how many people want their ex to reach out. It's Josh. I don't want to do too much. Okay, in the relationship. I wonder how many people want their ex to reach out just so they can validate their ego. I'm sorry, when things come up on the live stream, it takes your attention off it. T. Rose is in the house. Pete Rose's little cousin, Tyler Rose, is in the house. All right, my man. Sorry, this is good people right here, Mr. T. Rose. All right. Sorry, this is a good question from James Kavanaugh. I wonder how many people want their ex to reach out just so they can validate their ego versus actually wanting them back. It's actually very, very common. I don't know the percentage is 50, 60%, but a lot of times people that are high achievers do really well in life, that are arrogant, cocky, or just have a lot of confidence. A lot of times they do want to restore their ego. Or if people feel like someone dressed them down, where they said some comments at the end of the relationship like they're fat or they're ugly, they want to validate that back to the person. So that's very common. I think I'm in the first group. And you got to check yourself if you're chasing a relationship out of ego or you're chasing it because it was a good relationship. And to reframe that, chasing is not a good word. Of why you want the ex back is a better word. Was it a good relationship? I don't want to do too much in the relationship. I don't want to do too much in the relationship due to being scared of making a mistake and leave me. Yeah, Judy Jack Burford, never. Never ego validation, not worth it. Judy Jack, I agree with you. Never ego validation is not worth it. I don't think that people even know they're doing it when they're doing it. And sometimes when I unpack it with them, I have to ask them, what's your real reason for getting them back? And some people go, I just want to get back with them so I have the opportunity to possibly break up with them. People really say that. And then they're like, wow, I'm surprised I said that. They don't even know. There is a saying that goes, if you love somebody, let them go. If they come back, it is yours. If they don't, it was never meant to be. I've heard that statement before. It's true, Helen. That's the question. These guys are talking about some almost there. Shyly, I have one question. How to stop imagining X with someone else having happy lives so that they don't reach out. I am building my life very well, health, career, friends. I usually project what I am doing on my ex. What? Sorry, when these keep coming up, it throws me off. I usually project what I am doing on my ex real life. In fact, I know nothing about him. How do you stop imagining your ex with someone else having a happy life? You can switch that and go, I hope they're having a happy life. What about reframing it and go, I hope my ex is having a happy life? Would that be so bad? I'm thankful for the time we had together. There's also some things on YouTube about imaging, and I'll have to do a video about that sometimes, about if you're very image based, you would take an image, close your eyes, find that image, play with it, make it bigger. This is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. You make it bigger, and then you take the picture and you throw it behind you. And sometimes it helps you fragment the picture, that if you're imagining the same thing over and over again. I don't know if that makes sense to you, Shali. Someone else having a happy life so that in reality they don't reach out. I am building my life. Focus on yourself. When you have these emotions, when you're imagining your ex doing so well without you, would that be a bad thing? How long have you been apart? How about switching it to you, imagining you being in a really good place? If your imagination is really good, why don't you switch it over to imagining you in a really good place? Is that possible? If you're the young man, you've got so much more to live for than a 3-month relationship. I'm actually going to be 20. Yeah, Eric, you got a lot of life left, dude. 3 months, you'll get if you stay in no contact for another month or two, you go out with some other women, have some bad dates, you'll get through this just fine. Stop second guessing yourself. And if you're 20 years old, this is a great time to look at what your purpose is, make some travel plans, have something. I say this all the time, but like have something in place that's bigger and better to look forward to than your ex or a relationship, a career. First cut is always the deepest. That's true. You know, your first breakup, yeah. I mean, what's your first breakup, right? I mean, my first breakup, I broke up with her. So I don't know if that was the deepest. James Captain, but the first time you get broken up with, the second time I broke up, it was an ultimatum and it didn't go my way. Shali, thank you very much. Well, Shali, thank you very much. I like the name. Did I say that correct? First heartbreak is hardcore, but go enjoy life, bud. Keep focusing on you. It took me 8 years to get my career started just because of women. That's interesting. Women held you back from career for 8 years. Wow. Heartbreak's tough. I mean, I think that the avenues that you have on YouTube can help out a lot. Not just myself. If you want to talk to someone else. But if it's your first, you should definitely write out your story. If you don't want to send it in to me, have someone that's a friend or family member read the story back to you and go through it with them, and get really clear on what happened and why. Because what happens is a lot of people fragment everything. Oh, like Eric Guerrero, like you said, she said I neglected her. Like if you went into a story that was like a page or 2 pages exactly on how you broke up, that's a small piece of it. I chose to chase women and focus on me. Well, I mean, a lot of men do that, right? Especially in their 20s, because your hormones are high and you're looking to spread seed. I mean, that's just what it is. First heartbreak is hardcore. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Women come and go. It's smart to focus on your mission in life. That will last after you're gone. That's so true. I think what people have more trouble with more than ever before is finding what your purpose and mission are, because with the internet now, it's like I talk to people now and they'll say, I want to be this, I want to be this, and I want to do this, and I want to be this, and I want to be that. It's like, I think when my grandfather was a kid, he'd be like, I want to be a fireman. And that's what I'd go do. It wouldn't be like, I'm going to be a musician, a fireman. And it's really like, it's like this Renaissance type people that want to be 15 different things. And you can be those things. But I think it's overwhelming. And I'm even guilty of this. I'm wanting to do more things and go outside the box with this channel. But picking 1 or 2 things that are going to be your purpose in a set amount of time. And it takes a lot of focus, because in the beginning, whatever your purpose is, you're not going to be the best at it. It's going to take some time. It's like the YouTube channel I have right now and the business I'm building with breakup coaching. I've been at it little under a year and a half, and 2,500 subscribers. Is that a lot? No, but I've met a lot of people all over the world and helped them out with breakups, and that's been priceless. And I can see the growth as a coach, with my knowledge and my interaction with people. And that's the thing about the purpose. The purpose doesn't just happen. You still got to do the work and do the time. I actually did send my story to you. Young and dumb, now 5 years into my career. My life is better than ever. Well, Eric, if you sent your story into me, might not have been written very well unless I respond or not respond. I'm not sure. I've just changed on the services that you pay $25 if you want to get it read on YouTube. That just changed a couple of days ago. My life is better than ever. I eat steak and potatoes instead of stolen soup, crackers, and butter. I like soup and crackers. I just had chicken soup last night, actually. Good for you, man. See how people measure things? It's like someone will say like, oh, eating steak means that I'm doing so well right now, because he regards steak as something very high. Relationships are great, but women will rather see you in a mission and purpose oriented versus being relationship oriented. Yeah, it's man 101, right? I mean, this is one of those things, you see it in so many books. It's it's one of the things that comes up over and over again on Corey Wayne's show. Finding your purpose, right? I mean, it's attractive to women. It's the base. San Diego is the best place to be born and raised. Yes, it is. I love San Diego. Young, dumb, and broke. Are you talking about yourself? Because that's not a good way to talk about yourself. Or is that a song? Is that a hip hop song? Isn't that a song out there? Yeah, E.G., you don't want to say that about yourself. Your self-talk and what you say about yourself. I've noticed this about successful people. I remember I was in real estate. I was in residential real estate. And this guy came in, and he was like in his, I think, late 50s, and he said he owned some food company. And I was like, all right. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do all these REOs. REOs are when you repossess the house. The bank repossesses your house, and they go into foreclosure. And he's like, oh, I'm going to get all these listings, and everyone's like this. You know, he kind of had this accent. And you're thinking like, yeah, okay, Henry. And, you know, within a year later, this guy had a relationship with Wells Fargo Bank, and he was taking REOs, and he was having 4 or 5 listings a month, and he just did it. And it was just like, wow. And I'm sitting here thinking, wow, you're way too positive. You're way too ahead of yourself. No, he made that shit happen. I want my ex and her son in my life because I want to share our lives together as I can, not because I need them. Okay. As a family, not can't, my bad. Well, we're going to close it out here. So any more questions? This has been good, guys. This has been over an hour. I can't even imagine having a breakup with kids involved. Talk about making it more painful. I've never been in a relationship with a girlfriend that had prior kids, so I can't relate to that. But one thing I always do tell people is it's very important if you're going to get a relationship with someone that has kids, then you should be liking the kid or kids. And what I mean by that, you get along with them. You like hanging out with them. You like going to movies with their mom and them, because the love, the automatic unconditional love, not there, right? The automatic, you know, when you, it's like someone has a kid and the kid's a bad apple and they get in trouble all the time. The mom and dad, usually that's my kid, they're going to stand by him. But when you get in a relationship and someone's got a son already, a lot of times it's not about love or unconditional love anymore. It's more about like, well, do I like hanging out with this kid? Do I care about them? Some people get in relationships and they're like, oh, I can't stand the kid. Well, then you shouldn't be in the relationship. That's part of it. REO Speedwagon, where you at, James? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I know what REO means. James Kavanaugh, he says Cincy, Ohio. Out in Cincy, huh? You're a Reds fan? I got Tyler Rose down here, so I got a little Pete Rose descendant. Cincinnati, the Bengals, right? He's asleep next to me right now. He calls me dad. She is, I don't know where. Okay. He's 6, raised him for the last 3.5 years. Good for you, man. That's fucking admirable. That's a noble thing. Oh, well, at least you have the kid then. You can raise him to be a good man. Exactly. That's a noble position. When is the next live section? I don't know. I got to post it. I got to get organized on this. I'm going to do it daily. I'm going to do it early in the morning. What time is it right now? It's 1:12 p.m. where I'm at. I'm planning to do these at 7 a.m. People are all over, right? So peace out. Y'all stay frosty. I'm not cold at all. I'm actually sweating, bud. But thanks for being a part of this, JC Kavanaugh. I appreciate. It's 1:12 a.m. where you're at. So you're in the mid. So I'm directly on the other side of the world right now. So I'm going to close it out pretty soon here. Any closing questions? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. No questions? Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri. Thanks for all the help from all y'all. Good night. You too, EG. Right on. You too, Missouri, Cincinnati. Thanks, guys. Thanks for contributing. This has been good. Tyler Rose. Well, I'll be on again. It's Josh who? Hell no. Oh, not St. Louis? Fuck St. Louis? Okay. Peace. All right. I think that'll close it out for everyone. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for being a part of it. Light.